Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Raut. Cricket has always carried the weight of geopolitics that players themselves may have never asked for. Today, Pakistan also finds itself in the middle of a situation that goes far beyond a single match. The country will take part in the T20 World Cup hosted by India, but it will not play India. That decision has come not from the dressing room, but from the government, which has given approval to participate in the tournament, but with one very specific exception. What makes this moment a bit unusual is that there has been no official security concern cited. The match is scheduled to be played at a neutral venue under a hybrid model that the Pakistan Cricket Board has already agreed to, and yet the boycott stands. It's not as if cricket has not seen walkovers before, and today we look back at past walkovers, compare cricket's flexibility with football's rigidity under FIFA, and also ask a larger question: where does sport end and where does state policy begin? To discuss this with me is Ashok Nambudiri and Shomik Chakrabarti. But first, the first major instance of forfeited matches in an ICC tournament came in 1996 when Australia and West Indies refused to travel to Sri Lanka during the World Cup due to genuine security concerns amid the country's civil war. And interestingly, after this, India and Pakistan played under a combined banner of Will's 11. The next major case came in 2003 World Cup. England chose not to play Zimbabwe, citing political tensions, while New Zealand refused to travel to Kenya following the Mombasa terror attacks. Both teams requested neutral venues, but the ICC declined and awarded walkover wins to Zimbabwe and Kenya. Now, Shomik, starting with you, historically, obviously, walkovers have been granted due to clear security threats. Without citing one, does Pakistan weaken its own legal position?
Gargi, even without security threats, pullouts, forfeitures, walkovers happened. And Pakistan they were at the center of it. 2006 Oval Test. Um, mm, Umpire Darrell here hauled them up for ball tampering, and Pakistan refused to take the field after tea, and the game was awarded to England. So there was no security threats, nothing, but Pakistan just refused to take the field, and Pakistan Pakistan being Pakistan. I mean, that was another case of forfeiture. And if we move beyond cricket, we'll see forfeitures happened without any provocation. But that was once again politics intertwined with sport. 1972 Chess World Championship. Bobby Fischer refused to play second round in the Championship title against Boris Spassky. He just went AWOL. He just went AWOL. And then President Nixon had to had to take control of the matter through Henry Kissinger. And eventually, Bobby Fischer agreed to participate in the tournament. It was the height of the Cold War between Soviet bloc and the American bloc, and that was basically that was a Cold War on chessboard. And Fischer being Fischer, the greatest, arguably the greatest ever, the genius. In the round three, that pawn sacrifice happened, and even after forfeiting a round, he won the world title. But even without this thing, even without security threats, forfeitures happened. And if we come back to cricket, Pakistan were at the center of it, and Pakistan this time, what Pakistan have been doing, they are deliberately overplaying their hand. They are playing pure politics, dirty politics. What it is about, we'll discuss during the course of our live show.
Absolutely. Ashok, now I want to ask you, can a government instruct a boycott of a specific match while claiming compliance with tournament participation? Because let's set the premise a little bit before we go into the repercussions for Pakistan.
The blunt answer is no. It reminds me of a line that you cannot be inside the tournament but outside its responsibility. I think that is what I would start my argument with, saying that you can't pretend to be inside a tournament and playing in the tournament but not take any responsibility. I mean, There's one aspect that we have not spoken about, and I will come to your question in a couple of minutes, which is that of responsibility. Which is that, when you contract to play a tournament like this, there is also a responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility, a non-fiduciary responsibility towards associate nations, towards other boards. What happens to that responsibility? Why is that not even a consideration? And the larger point I'm making is that it is not about an India Pakistan match standalone. Earlier I've spoken about how the broadcaster gets impacted, how the credibility of the ICC tournament gets impacted, but there is also responsibility towards other boards, towards associate nations, and you are basically then creating harm for them, which is completely not acceptable. Coming to the point that you asked, Gargi, I do not subscribe to this point of view at all. I think the grounds, are very well described in terms of a force majeure, what conditions could lead to it. The examples that Shamik spoke about relate to security threats. And, we have spoken about this endlessly. There is nothing in terms of a security threat here. Also, if you see, this condition of playing in a neutral ground between India and Pakistan has been laid down long before even the Asia Cup last year. It's been a practice, and therefore suddenly what has changed? It's completely inexplicable. Gargi?
Shomik, when we look back on those walkovers that I talked about earlier in the show, when Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, or New Zealand were involved in walkovers, the concern was clearly safety. Do you think this situation, it is, but I'm just going to ask for your opinion, is this situation fundamentally different in kind and not just in degree?
This is the case of classical dichotomy, Gargi. Your safety or security is not a concern at all. Otherwise, Pakistan wouldn't have traveled to Sri Lanka, right? They are going to Sri Lanka. They are pulling out of one particular match, and uh, just keep that in mind. Pakistan Cricket Board will not formally inform the ICC. Pakistan Cricket Board will absolutely not formally inform the ICC about the forfeiture. They will not, because they are playing dirty politics. Because what happens? ICC, the view from the Pakistan is that ICC has issued a press release based on the tweet that was put out from the official government of Pakistan's handle, which means the government, the ICC has taken cognizance of the matter, and they were aware of Pakistan's stand as far as this is concerned. We don't need to send any further communication to the ICC. But the fact of the matter is that, and it is very naive, it is very banal. The fact of the matter is that they are playing a dirty politics in the sense. As long as you are not formally informing the ICC, it is a little difficult for the world body to take up the case or punish or sanction or do whatever to take any countermeasures, because until the game is coming, there is no, and ICC or any world body for that matter doesn't hear from the, doesn't take note of, doesn't hear from the government. They, for them, it is about the member associations or the member boards. Pakistan Cricket Board is a full member nation under the ICC, under the ICC umbrella, under the ICC of Pakistan, and they would like to hear from the formal process is that they would like to hear from the PCB. Now, PCB, as long as PCB is not informing them anything formally, a bit their hands, ICC's hands are a little bit tired in the sense. India will go. India will follow all the protocols. India captain will appear for the pre-match press conference. They will turn up at the ground on 15th of February. They will line up, and if Pakistan don't turn up, then the match officials will give them a walkover. So simple. But Pakistan is delaying this because Pakistan is not, and Pakistan are not going to inform anything to the ICC through a formal letter, because they want to keep ICC on the tenterhooks. This is the dirty politics part of the whole thing.
Absolutely. Now, Ashok, a question here. If India also, or if cricket follows Pakistan logic here, does it open the door for selective boycotts in future tournaments? Then, even a Bangladesh could have come and said that, oh, we'll not play the game against India because they've, not let one of our players participate in the IPL, but we will play the rest of the tournament.
Oh, we've not even started talking about precedents. That is an extremely dangerous precedent. It's not just dangerous. I think it is ridiculous because it then makes it a banana republic in terms of picking and choosing. It'll become, forget security, forget geopolitics. It'll almost become like, I can pick and choose which matches I want to play. Do you want a tournament? Do you want a future of cricket where teams can pick and choose what they want to play and ignore the ones that they don't want to play? I mean, that will make a mockery of the whole thing. Imagine what, forget the broadcaster, forget the associate nations. Imagine what the fan of cricket is going to endure. I think that is not doing a service to the fan. And at the core of sport is the fan. I do not think that that is something that we should even entertain.
Absolutely. And now, Shaumik, a bit of a difficult question because ICC also is in a tough spot. Would a failure at this point to act decisively, damage the ICC's authority? We've seen that when the Bangladesh situation also happened, we saw that there was a line at the end that said that if they allow Bangladesh to not participate in the tournament or rather play in a neutral venue, it sort of threatens the integrity of the board.
Yeah, to start with, and we have spoken about this during our 12 live also. And Pakistan have been undermining the Pakistan. I mean, going by the message put out by their or the directive put out by their government, Pakistan have been undermining the integrity and sanctity of the tournament. That is to start with. But here, the case is a little bit different because there had to be a specific deadline for Bangladesh to confirm their participation or non-participation at the world event because they ICC had to replace in any case if Bangladesh were not participating. ICC had to find a replacement, and eventually they did that. They replaced Bangladesh with Scotland. Here, it is a little tricky. The things are a bit tricky because Pakistan are already there in Sri Lanka. They will be playing their warm-up fixtures. They will be playing their other group league matches. So until the D-Day is coming, ICC, I mean, whatever the back channel conversations are formally, ICC doesn't have any document to support that, then Pakistan will not turn up. Then is the ICC powerless? We have to go into the territory of whether the world body can take suo motu action. Because in this case, if it becomes evident, and they will get a clear, a clear feel of the whole thing, as back channels conversations, as back channels talk continues. So uh, they will get a clear idea. They will have a clear idea of what's going to happen, and based on that, ICC, my question is, I'm not too sure if the ICC can take a suo motu action. From the Pakistan side, they are just testing the waters because they are waiting what could be the consequences. They will do their bit of back channel talk with the other boards they have been friendly with, like England, and Australia, uh, the other two members of the big three. They will try to test the waters. I mean, if we eventually forfeit the game, what would be the reactions from these two boards, who are the member of that so-called big three, the other two members of the so-called big three? Pakistan will try to test the waters. So ICC, I don't know how long they will allow it to go on. But once again, if you are undermining the integrity and sanctity of a tournament, then the parent body, I don't expect the parent body to take it lying down.
Absolutely. Ashok, from a broadcaster's perspective, how much does the commercial reality, especially when it comes to matches like India versus Pakistan, and the broadcast revenue influence how far the ICC is willing to go? Do you think there'll be a discussion like that?
So look, on paper, I would put the value of this one particular match anywhere between 250 to 300, maybe 350 crores. But as I've been saying, for some time now, it is not that you have one match and one match value is then deducted from the total value and the rest of the property remains intact. It doesn't work that way. One, because advertisers pay a premium because of star rivalry properties like this. That premium is eroded, which also means that when the match is sold, it's or when the tournament is sold, it's sold as a bundle, and therefore you lose that value not just for that one property, but for the rest of the value of the property. And the broadcaster is going to go back and renegotiate. The impact of that is going to be far more than the value that I spoke about. Two, the broadcaster also puts in a lot of work. I mean, we undermine the fact that there is a whole lot of logistics crews which move. This is planned meticulously. Detailed schedules are drawn up, just like the ICC would draw up schedules for the matches. The broadcaster draws up such schedules for the crew movement, and every single piece of that puzzle is critical. Because can you imagine that on the day of the match there are 30 to 40 cameras, and if one small piece of equipment is missing, then that's not acceptable. And so there is preparation that goes in. Commentators are lined up, technical crew is lined up, technical equipment is lined up, pre-shows are lined up, digital pieces, social media. There's a whole lot of preparation that goes in. Who's going to compensate for all that? And so, the broadcaster impact is going to be huge. There is going to be pushback onto the ICC. And I would say that it is not just a 1 February 15th incident that can be deleted. It is going to have a long-term impact, and it would not be in the interest of ICC to just overlook this at face value, for sure, Gargi.
Yes, sir.
Gargi, one more important point is that we have to go through, because it would be, it would be very desirable and advisable to go through the entire membership participation agreement, because we know that there is something called the government approval. That's fine, but is in case of selective participation, because we have seen in the past, I mean, Australia, West Indies, or England or New Zealand didn't face any consequences beyond losing the points and surrendering their entire net run rate, and that is there in the ICC clause. But in case of selective participations, what are the other penalties associated that we need to look into, because that is very important. Because in the or if there is a lacuna, or if there is any gray area, I hope ICC should make it watertight via a board meeting, and which can allow them to take actions even retrospectively. So that is important, and it is important to go through that go through that members participation agreement. What are the clauses attached, and what are the penalties that could happen to a country if it opts for selective participation?
Gargi, before you come to the next question, I just want to respond to that one. See, I have an issue with selective boycott or selective participation. And my issue is that, and earlier in the 12 o'clock show, we spoke about how not to club India and Pakistan together in one group. Maybe that could be pitched as an alternative solution to the ICC. But it doesn't work. I mean, what happens is that if, for example, you put them in two different groups, or you allow selective participation to happen, and willy-nilly, let us say that India and Pakistan end up in the finals playing each other. What happens at that situation? I mean, you are then holding everyone to hostage by saying that, I will allow selective participation during the group stage, but when it comes to the finals, I will play or I won't play. Either way, it's not a solution. And therefore, to my mind, allowing something like a selective participation, I think, would be detrimental to all stakeholders in the long term.
Absolutely, because and you cannot do like that, because any random team will come. Any random team will come and will say, "No, we have four group league games, and three of them we are playing against the associate nations. Those matches will eventually win." So I don't care about playing that game against a full member nation, because if I forfeit that, even if I forfeit that, I would still qualify for the knockouts. So that would set a very very bad example, and any random team in the future can fall back on that. So ICC will have to address this.
They definitely will have to. We'll go to Boria for a couple of minutes here. He's done a video some time ago at around 4 p.m. where he has given an update on what Pakistan's game plan could be from here on. I'm just going to play that once more, just so our viewers can have an idea of what the situation is looking like. So here's Boria talking about Pakistan's game plan from here on.
Why has the Pakistan Cricket Board not written to the ICC? Now that is the question. If the government of Pakistan has put out a tweet saying that the Pakistan team will not take field against India on 15 February, what stops the Pakistan Cricket Board from formally communicating this to the ICC? Now, if you ask the PCB or if you ask sources in Pakistan, they will give you the banal explanation that, oh, ICC has already issued a media release, which means that they have taken cognizance of the Pakistan government's tweet. Now, for the record, in that ICC media release, it is very clearly stated that the Pakistan Cricket Board is yet to formally communicate anything to the International Cricket Council. I record this breaking video at 4 p.m. as I drive to Chennai airport on my way back to Calcutta. And even now, 4 p.m. Monday afternoon, the Pakistan Cricket Board has not formally informed the ICC that it will not play the game against India. In the meantime, Pakistan is departing for Colombo or is en route to Colombo. So they have gone ahead and taken the flight to Colombo as well. This is part of a clear clandestine plan. This is absolute dirty politics yet again. By not writing to the ICC, Pakistan is creating a window that unless we formally inform the ICC will not be in any position to take action or impose any kind of penalty on Pakistan or even suspend Pakistan, which is what we were hearing. Because until and unless they are formally communicated to, what action will the ICC take? Can they take suo motu action? No, because there has to be some kind of formal communication on the part of the PCB. So the Pakistan Cricket Board will play this wait and watch kind of game. They will try and add to the drama and add to the intrigue. They will land up in Colombo, but nobody will know whether they will turn up or not. They will say, oh, but we know the government has already said. They will not formally communicate to the ICC, which is clearly an attempt to try and preempt any kind of action from being taken against Pakistan, because they now know that if they do formally communicate to the ICC, chances are that ICC might even impose suspension and throw Pakistan out of this present tournament as well. They do not want to take that chance. As a result, they will not do anything to try and push the ICC from taking action. They'll keep things in abeyance. They'll keep quiet. They will add to the drama. They will not let the ICC act because they will keep that cushion for them by not writing to the ICC. This is disgusting, unprofessional, irresponsible behavior, to say the least. ICC has taken note of this and will wait for a certain time before they move. But at this point in time, the PCB has not written to the ICC, clearly, once again, trying to add to the intrigue and to the drama.
We've all, yes, Ashok.
Gargi, I got reminded of something that, when we were covering the Asia Cup last year, you'll remember that for one of the matches, and I don't remember which one, we had Pakistan going through the same motions in a way where they refused to depart from the hotel. There was no information whatsoever to any of the stakeholders. The bus left late from the hotel, and then the match started late, leaving all stakeholders completely confused as to what is happening. So this seems to be the way of, the method that Pakistan seems to be adopting, with scant regard or respect for any of the stakeholders. This is really, brinksmanship by keeping everybody on edge, perhaps leaving a loophole open where at the very last end you come in and play. And perhaps, like Shamik said, this is a way of testing the waters to see what the other people have to say. and if there is no respite, then they go back and play. I mean, this is absolutely not acceptable at the world stage.
Absolutely not. I mean, we all remember the kind of confusion that we were in back during the Asia Cup in Dubai. We were hearing conflicting reports. One report said that certain players have boarded the bus. The next report would come in that the players have been asked to deboard the bus and go back to their hotels. The kids still in the bus, whether or not they're coming. You're right when you say that Pakistan's strategy seems to be as if they're trying to keep everyone on their toes. They're trying to see, let's see how far we can push this. But Shomik and Ashok, both of you, I want to ask this question. Now that we've brought up Asia Cup, did India's decision to play the Asia Cup last year, and from what we've heard from sources today morning as well, that one of the reasons why India did go on to play Asia Cup was because of its implications on associate nations. So now my question is, did India's decision to play the Asia Cup last year strengthen its moral standing in this entire dispute?
Strengthen, I mean, moral standing, going beyond the moral standing, Gergi. What BCCI did, BCCI showed maturity. Simple as that. They didn't act like a juvenile. What Pakistan has been doing, it is purely juvenile, right? I'm not going to the issue. I'm not going to the issues or things like etiquette, basic decorum. Showing class. I'm not even going into that. But what Pakistan's act so far has been pretty juvenile. Now, BCCI showed maturity on two counts. One is that BCCI cared a damn about Pakistan, and also BCCI cared a damn about the money revenue they would be getting from the Asia Cup. It is tin pot. It is a tin pot tournament, Asia Cup. But what happens if BCCI goes? I mean, the Asian Cricket Council generate revenue. And as a trickle down effect, the associate nations, countries like Oman, Hong Kong, UAE, other associate nations, they will get their share of money. And their cricket goes on. And BCCI, like an elder brother, did their duty. Also, unlike Pakistan, Pakistan will not host a world sporting event in the next 100 years. That for sure. Because it's a failed country, a moth-eaten country. The country doesn't have an economy at all. Everything has collapsed. And at least in the next 100 years, Pakistan will not be hosting any international sporting event. But India is an ambitious country. In terms of sports also, because India would be hosting the Commonwealth Games, the 2030, but the big thing is the 2036 Olympics. And if you want to host the Olympics, you have to follow the principles of the IOC Charter, which is that, and which means that you have to participate. You have to allow all the participating nations at any multinational events. So, India, looking at the bigger picture and with an eye on the bigger picture, India went and played the Asia Cup. And India, as I said, it's an ambitious country. It has sporting ambition. It has economic ambition. It has sporting ambition also. So from that point of view, so BCCI worked. I mean, BCCI shown maturity, and Pakistan act has been pretty juvenile.
Ashok, I go back to what Boria said here. Boria did mention that one of the reasons why Pakistan has not officially communicated yet is because they are sort of, like you, in your words, testing the waters. I go back to ICC statement when Bangladesh, Bulbul and Asif Nazrul both had that press conference. After that, there was no official communication, it seems like, from the BCB to the ICC, because in the last paragraph, you can see that it says, as no confirmation was received within the stipulated deadline, the ICC proceeded in line with its established governance and qualification processes to identify a replacement team. At this point, what is ICC's next move, considering that no official communication has been received from PCB?
So that's a great question. I mean, I think part of it, Shamik actually addressed in his earlier response, where he said that if if Pakistan is playing a waiting game, and it's a dirty guessing game for all other stakeholders, then what are we saying? Effectively, what we are saying is that only on the 15th of February, when India takes the field, we will know whether they are going to take the field or not, right? And does it mean then that only then can you take an action? Then you are holding everybody hostage, and that is worse than a rogue nation, right? I mean, that is just not acceptable. So one way it could play out is that uh, if there is no communication, you kind of wait till what happens. Pakistan may just be using this as a ploy and testing the waters, like I said. When they find that there is no support, and already with that 14-2 vote when it came to the Bangladesh issue, they know that they are on the back foot. They might just be buying time to come back and play, in which case they will have egg on their face, but I suppose they don't care. So that's one route. The other route is that ICC could, on the same basis as the communication that you just said, actually take it up, asking them to clarify, and in which case there would be a proactive measure to try and address the issue in a forthright manner, and that could be one way to address this. In terms of consequences, there could be many actions that could be taken, but we'll come back to that later.
Yes, Shomik, I believe you have something to say.
Gargi, my 2 pence on this is that legally also, I believe ICC has a strong case if they decide to take a suo motu action. Because, first of all, Mohsin Naqvi said that we will follow government's instructions, we will not follow what ICC wants. And he said that in public, and the statement has been recorded and documented, right? So he passed the onus to Pakistan government. And then came the Pakistan government's release or tweet saying that Pakistan will participate at the T20 World Cup, except for that match on 15th of February against India. So legally, I think if ICC takes a suo motu action, they can cite first Mohsen Naqvi's comment as an example or evidence, followed by the Pakistan government's communique. So, though the two combined, there is a clear case that you are not going to play this match. And as you, as the PCB head, you have said you will follow government's instructions, and your government instruction is don't turn up for the 15th February game against India. So, accordingly, because we cannot hold everyone hostage, and we have to come up with a backup. We have to come up with an alternate arrangement. So, based on that, we have been taking this suo motu action. If ICC decides to do this, I think they have a strong legal case.
All right. But the only thing, Ashok, here is when it comes to the International Sporting Charter, is that the only way national boards or sporting boards get a little bit of leeway is when the government, and when there's government involvement, is when there's a legal or credible security threat. At this point, there's clear government involvement in this issue. We have a tweet from the government of Pakistan themselves. We have Mohsin Naqvi multiple times on record saying that we will follow what the government is telling us. With no credible threat, do you also think Pakistan risks being barred from international cricket at this point?
For sure, yes. I mean, if you see the words that ICC has put in their statement, they're talking about significant and they're talking about long term. What do these mean? These mean, for example, that it is going to be which is going to be a weighty kind of action that is going to have an impact on Pakistan. It could mean, a cutoff from a financial contribution perspective that Pakistan gets. Earlier in the day, we spoke about how Pakistan stands to lose $38 million, and I had pointed out that this is actually 70% of their total earnings, and therefore actually brings their cricketing ecosystem. It runs it into the ground, and which could be a very dangerous situation for the country itself. So that could be one. Two, there could be a ban. I mean, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 1 year, depending on the harshness of the situation. There could be a ban. Third, the overseas players being allowed to play in the PSL, comes up for question mark. Does the ICC remove the accreditation process for the domestic league? It's going to have a lot of ramifications. It's not just an India-Pakistan matter anymore. Other associate nations, other countries are going to think twice before sending their players, before engaging in bilateral tournaments. And this is not an impact that you can wash off that easily. Dargi.
Agreed. A similar question is in our comment section. Fitmonk is asking, ICC policy clearly states that no government intervention is accepted. So far, what are they waiting for, as the tweet has been directly made from the government of Pakistan handle? Shomik? An add-on question to this, I think ICC will try to de-escalate a little bit and sort of talk and whether or not PCB can reconsider that decision.
I think that would be the first choice. That should also be the first choice, because no one wants a participating nation to be forced out of a tournament. Even ICC reluctantly took the decision to replace Bangladesh with Scotland because they had no other option. So I think dialogue will continue, and dialogue, and nothing is more powerful than dialogue. But is Pakistan willing to listen? That is the main thing. Is Pakistan willing to listen? Pakistan are reveling in political grandstanding. Yes, he has a point that the tweet came directly from the Pakistan government's angle. At the same time, as far as members' participation agreement is concerned, there is a clause that subject to government approval. So this is something a little bit conflicting and confusing, and goes into the territory of the lawyers. So it goes, and if this doesn't get resolved through dialogue, the entire thing is heading towards a messy legal wrangle.
100%. And Shomik, we have multiple, so many of us come from different walks of life. Some of us have played professional sports, some of us are broadcasters like Ashok himself. I think next we need to get a legal person who has an interest in who has an interest in sports journalism, looking at the way that Pakistan is dealing with things. We'll have to do that. But Ashok, another question here. Abhishek Chaudhary is asking, whatever the decision happens in the next 48 to 72 hours, it would just be humiliation for PCB. Will the ramifications be instant or after the T20 World Cup? If it's instant, will they be replaced and by whom?
Wow, that's actually quite a few questions in one question. So let's just break it up. So first point is, whatever happens, it would be humiliation for PCB. I agree. I think there will be loss of face, there will be egg on the face, but it seems like they are okay with it. I mean, if you take that Asia Cup example, they thought nothing of holding everybody hostage for 1 hour with no information, no explanations, and then they come to the ground and start off as if nothing really happened. I mean, the amount of planning that goes into a match held in Dubai, because you're trying to catch the prime time in India, there is a specific reason why you start the match and the first over at a particular time. Advertisers pay top dollar because you are catching prime time where you've got the maximum audience availability. The moment you go beyond prime time and go into late prime time, your audience drops off, and therefore your viewership is going to drop off, your monetization is going to drop off, and therefore that is one way of looking at it, which is the economic lens. The other is the fan lens, which I've been talking about. Fans, there is scant respect then for what you're doing. In this particular case, what about the Sri Lanka board, who would be making preparations for them? Where is the respect for the host nation? I mean, by that token, India actually accepted Pakistan as the host for the Asia Cup. Of course, the match was held in Dubai, and then went and played that. So where does respect for all that hold? And therefore, the question of humiliation, completely agree that is going to be an issue. In terms of actions, depending on whatever is the outcome, I think there could be instant actions. But I'm hoping that there will be medium term actions. Otherwise, you are setting a wrong precedent, talking from an ICC perspective, for future actions that countries could take. And that's very important to set that stage right now.
Absolutely. And Shomik, before we close the show, one question that I'm on a lighter note. Even if Pakistan continues to play this tournament, does not, walks over the game against India, what if there's an India versus Pakistan final? What then? Chances are low, but what if?
Yeah, you can never rule it out. T20 is an unpredictable format, and Pakistan, and but then again, I mean, the entire thing, as I've said, what their act has been so juvenile. In that case, they might say we'll turn up. So I don't know. I struggle to relate Mohsin Naqvi with such pettiness because he is not a random person. He is convent educated. His wife is his wife is the daughter of someone very high up in Pakistan army. He is a media mogul. He is well educated, and he is so he is urban. So I struggle to relate such pettiness with someone like Mohsin Naqvi. Then again, it, every time I think, every time I start thinking like that, it dawns on me, in that country only one voice matters, and that is of the army, and everyone else is in thrall of the army and is in thrall to the field marshal. So Mohsen Naqvi cannot go just the other way. Simple as that. Unfortunate, but that is why. This is the reason why Pakistan, um, even India and Pakistan got their independence just a day apart, for August 14 and August 15, 1947. Indian economy is $3 trillion at this moment in time, fourth largest economy. India has dehyphenated Pakistan, but at the very existence of Pakistan till this day is depends on India bashing. Unfortunate. They have no economy. They have, almost 70% of people below poverty line. They have nothing. They have nothing. But then again, this pettiness goes on and on and on, which is unfortunate. And such, such, such uncertainty or such instability jeopardize the entire subcontinent. Not only India, it jeopardizes entire subcontinent. And now their act of pettiness is jeopardizing the every participant of the T20 World Cup.
And Ashok, someone's asked me to take the question requested, so I'll do that. Abhishek Chaudhary is asking, going by the words of Boria sir, PCB will play the theatrics of delaying to reach the venue and later say our government has already informed about standing. We support that. They want to humiliate ICC and BCCI, but this is something that goes beyond sport. This is something like in the case of Bangladesh as well. There's a lot of politics involved, there's a lot of posturing involved. And of course, Pakistan is trying to play to the Bangladesh gallery as well at this point.
So fundamentally, humiliating ICC, I don't understand. I mean, what is the game that we are trying to play here, right? You are part of the ICC. You're part of decisions that the ICC makes, and you have a right to express your dissent, but there is a certain manner and certain protocol to doing that. I think, like we said in the case of Bangladesh, at this kind of a situation, when you are trying to negotiate your way through and making your point of view expressed, you need to have enough of bandwidth to maneuver some of these situations. You cannot work yourself into a corner and then you are trapped, and that's exactly what happened to Bangladesh. In the case of Pakistan, we still don't know what is the reason why they want to boycott, right? They have not expressed a security concern. They have not expressed anything very clearly. So we don't know. Now, if they want to humiliate India, which is, by boycotting the game against India, for whatever reason, we understand that. But the question of humiliation of ICC is not just foolish, it's a very dangerous thing to even think about, because then you are ruining cricket in your country for good for a long, long time.
And ultimately, that is the question. How far will Pakistan take this? How much will it affect world cricket? Shomik, yes?
Yeah, Gargi, look at Pakistan's hockey. Just look at Pakistan's hockey and the way PCB has been behaving. Their cricket is going that way. When we are young, when we are in school, Pakistan hockey team used to be our dream team. Hassan Sardar, Kalimullah, Shamiullah, and then Shehbaz, Wasim Firoz. My God, what a team! And we fell in love. Also, particularly I, fell in love with the sport because of that Pakistan hockey team of Hassan Sardar, Kalimullah, and Shamiullah. And look where the Pakistan hockey is today. And by doing this, by doing such political grandstanding posturing and an act of juvenile, Pakistan cricket is heading that way only. It is heading towards a deep, dark dungeon, but they don't have the senses. They don't have, I mean, deliberately, by theme or by design, they don't have the senses to realize that where they are taking their cricket to.
What lies ahead now is a waiting game. We'll have to wait and watch how ICC tries to de escalate this situation, whether or not they are able to convince PCB to play the match against India, uh, going against the guidelines given by their government. Again, it's a waiting game, and as soon as there's any more updates on what happens with the PCB, if there's any formal communication to the ICC, or if there's something that ICC comes up with, we'll of course have it here at Rub Sports. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Keep your eyes peeled on the space. We'll be back with much more. We're constantly in touch with sources, and we will try and figure out what the repercussions could be of this entire debacle. Thank you, Ashok and Shomik. We'll be back very soon.